You're going to want to stick around for this next podcast with Go With Your Palate. We got a special guest today, Danny Wirtz. Known him for quite a few years now, but this guy, I don't know how he stays so together, being so busy. He is a leader in multiple industries, from real estate with Wirtz Corporation, the famous Blackhawk hockey team out of Chicago, and one of our favorite partners in any facet of business, Breakthru Beverage. So thank you for being here.
Covered a lot of ground.
Yeah,
100 years, multiple industries, from wine to hockey to a little music.
Yeah, the early years that you had in the music industry, we got even to AI and how that's affecting business and how we're evolving all together with it.
And the future of stadiums like the United Center and where that's going. So lots of exciting stuff. Thank you for being here and sharing. And hopefully, if you are in a part of the alcohol or just beverage industry, you're going to want to hear this, because some of the supply chain stuff and understanding the whole global outlook of how this whole machine works, it is a fun thing to understand and learn. You're going to enjoy it. What brands outside of wine that have come to market recently have done a really good job of really targeting their customer base, executing and just blowing up really? I mean, and have, like, I guess the point I'm trying to get to is, what is a non-wine brand that wine suppliers can look at and say, these guys broke the mold?
So, I mean, I think this is fair to say that one of the biggest phenomenon in the last couple of years, there's a lot of great stories of, I mean, High Noon, what that has done, because of course it's vodka in a can at a calorie level. They have some attributes that are appealing, but really what that's shown is that we need to take alcohol beverage into occasions and into experiences where consumers are at. And I think we start, and then therefore it started kind of as a functional thing where you can now enjoy alcohol beverage in a can in a convenience package, and now it's actually playing in places where traditional cocktails are made. So to see High Noon go across the bar in a place that actually has the capability to serve a vodka soda is incredible to see. So, but it started with understanding the consumer, understanding occasion, having the right product and package to get that into places where traditionally our industry didn't play, a golf course, a beach, a boat, whatever that might be, and then really start to build a brand that way. So it's a great example of just, I think, this continued focus around not only the consumer, but the occasions the consumer is either not choosing to drink alcohol or one of our categories, or certain products have not always been able to enter that space. In this case, that's very much where the beer occasion traditionally was.
Yeah, I think your point about golf is a great one, where that was, throw some Bud Lights in an ice chest and go. You weren't going to grab a bottle of vodka and some
mix
soda
the
water
thing on
mix
the cart.
it.
Yeah, totally.
So that you mentioned it a few times, opening up that occasion, but bringing the product to where the consumer is at.
Exactly.
And I think that's something that the wine world has not done a good job of.
It's a huge opportunity.
So do you see that because of that and that convenience factor and kind of the active lifestyle that I think people are more and more adopting, are RTDs, are they going to level off, or are they going to continue to grow for the next few years?
That's a really good question, and I think we actually had a board meeting, and Danny Brager, who's an industry analyst, talks about this. Danny, and we were just spending a lot of time on ready to drink, and my big takeaway is, while we've seen trends on flavors or varietals come up and down, we've never seen a trend where literally a completely different consumer proposition gets introduced. Like, I don't think you go away. Once something is made more convenient, you don't go back.
Yeah.
So, we're using the example, once you've ordered DoorDash, you're never going to pick up the phone and call and order a pizza again. Once you've ridden Uber, you're never going to go and call a taxi. Once you've introduced this convenience package, that is now a new normal. So now, within that category, lots of room for disruption, leaders, consolidation, propositions, and I think you just have to think of it as its own. That's an occasion-based consumer proposition that we're going to see more of. Now the question will be, does wine play in that space better?
Yeah.
Does beer figure out? Obviously they do kind of play in there, and I frankly don't think it's as much about, is it malt, is it spirits, is it wine? I think so much of it is brand. I think most consumers, I don't know that they identify High Noon as a vodka. High Noon is an incredible brand.
I think
it happens to be vodka based.
Yeah, it was an early differentiator for them.
Yeah.
In the world of White Claw, which just dominated that seltzer category, but they did a phenomenal job with High Noon, I thought.
Absolutely.
And it just seems like it continues to roll on.
And open the door for so many other products to sort of enter that space and to start to have conversations with consumers. So it's, I don't hate to single out one brand because we're so proud of so many things that we've seen, but that one in particular I think has probably changed the game in terms of opening up a new consumer proposition.
And so we haven't seen really a great uptake in the wine, the convenience package of wine.
Yes.
Like that started off a couple years back, but really just kind of seems like it petered out, it's leveled off.
Yep.
And I don't know, people have not adopted it. And there were a ton of them that hit the market. First it was just a few brands, and then a ton of them hit the market. Everybody's got a rosé and a Sauv Blanc or whatever, and it just didn't take off. So I don't know that that's ever going to work for wine.
I don't know. And there are I think there's larger format convenience.
Yeah.
Pouches and boxes that seem to still be doing well at that level.
Yeah.
Again, that's not single serve though. The single serve still, I think, and there is change in is it Tetra over can. I don't know what's going to be the winning proposition, but I know some folks are trying to find ways to get wine into those environments.
Yeah. Have you seen that beer is kind of going? Is there a growing segment in beer that is more towards the kind of luxury, larger format bottles, or is that?
I think that still stays kind of in a more specialty area.
It's just
and
always
craft, which is I think has probably saturated to an extent. But I don't know that you see the same parallels you see in sort of the trading up that we've been able to do so well in wine and spirits.
But you're saying larger format for beer, like 40s?
like a keg.
I'm talking old English. I'm talking like
take me back, right?
I'm talking like nice Belgian brews that cork topper and all that stuff. Where like it is more occasion based. Of course, it's not convenient, but that's kind of like that's taking the can convenience experience and moving it upscale to like a wine level. I guess.
Whereas we've got, we've been able to trade consumers up, and now we have to figure out how to almost bring them into how can they enjoy it in a more casual and convenient way. So it's actually a great problem to have because it's very hard to get people to go up. I think you can find ways to sort of meet people on a more casual level, but it's going to take some creativity.
Yeah. Well, I also wanted to ask about this is kind of moving away from the sales side and that sort of thing, and more the inner workings of Breakthru from a distribution standpoint. Sure. So just here in Illinois, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I heard something around 6,000 cases an hour go out of the warehouse.
That sounds about right. Yeah. It's an incredible.
This is insane.
I think we love taking people to our warehouses because I think they can actually see truly how these products make their way to market, and to look in the example of Cicero, Illinois, and to look and see here is essentially the state's worth of, the state of Illinois is serviced out of this one building, and we could take pallets of quilt, we could be pulling a single bottle of Amaro, and we still find the way to sort of get them consolidated on a truck into the customer within 24 hours is a remarkable feat.
It is. It's insane. So, and how much of that have you been able to automate? And
a lot has been automated, I think, for sure. And that's been a real advancement in a lot of our operations. And not everything benefits from automation. I think there's still a lot of human components to this, but it's an area of a lot of investment that we've made, and clearly we have to continue to find ways to make those operations more efficient, and then not only efficient, but just being really precise. And so when that customer orders something, they expect it to come exactly as they ordered it. So the quality level of that efficiency is always something that we hold our folks accountable to.
So maybe you should, for anybody listening, 6,000 cases an hour. A 40-foot truck will hold about 1,200 to 1,300 cases. But most of your delivery trucks are probably much smaller than that.
Yeah,
is it?
That's probably about right. Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of trucks.
Yeah.
And then you guys are running 24 hours a day. Or
Yeah,
is
I mean,
it
the
trucks
loading
as far as-
happens at night. During the day is when the deliveries are made, and so I mean, it's a perpetual system that goes on. Obviously, our sales reps in the market are generating the sales to go in by a certain time in order to then get the next delivery window. So I do believe that the closer folks, and thank you for taking such interest in this, because I do think it ends up creating a great appreciation, not just for the operational side, but actually how that translates to the customer experience too. I mean, our sales reps are sort of in lockstep with the ops team in terms of that bottle has to get to the account when it's on time and exactly as they expected it. And so the partnership between sales and ops is, I mean, it's a classic piece, but it's very important.
Well, that's how you build your good reputation on being the reliable partner to work with, right?
Exactly. That's table stakes. You expect that case to show up as expected, and then we've got all the other challenges from a sales standpoint. So it's an incredible machine that does come together to get a product to market. And so every time I'm at a restaurant and I take a sip, a little nod of appreciation that if you actually go all the way back to the vineyard, good Lord, you planted that vine, and look at where we're at now, and it went through this amazing system we have.
And that system, even for people that work in the distribution network, the sales team, them understanding kind of how the process goes, right? So not even going back to planting grapes, but we produce this case of wine, this pallet of wine. We let the distributor know, let you guys know that is available to, let's call it a new release of a new vintage.
Yeah.
You guys send in a PO that's you guys working with our sales team to create this PO, goes to our operations, we approve it, and then you guys have a truck lined up to pick it up from our warehouse.
Exactly.
It goes from Napa, California, all the way out here to Cicero, Chicago, or Cicero, Illinois. Goes into your warehouse. That product should already be set up, right, by the time it gets in there. And if it's a new product, you guys may need to set that up for the ordering system coming from the account.
Correct.
Now, I'm trying to summarize because
I
think a lot of people don't understand this supply chain
Yeah.
is extreme, and this is, I mean, it's like, I think the military might not be as complicated as our supply chain.
Totally.
Like,
And there are different, attributes unique by state, as mentioned, laws and taxes and things that sort of have to be set up uniquely. Obviously, the challenge with us is if we already sell your brand in one market, there are some data points that hopefully make it easier when we add it to another market. So we're looking a lot on the data piece so that there's some level of consolidation, because right now the industry, generally speaking, is very fragmented. So there's probably a lot of resetting up of a lot of the same products multiple times. So in a perfect world, you could set it up in your system, and it would all wholesalers could just pull that into theirs, and we call it a day. We're not there yet, but I do believe that's with AI, that's going to be a real,
really,
especially when you think about sort of product attributes and things. And we were just having a conversation the other day, like in our system, you may see Sauvignon Blanc, maybe it's actually spelled Sauvignon Blanc in one state, or it's Sauv Blanc in another, or it's SAV and they took out the U. AI obviously cleans that up really easily. So those are old traditional issues you have in data cleansing. Now with AI, I think there's ways to sort of just clean all that stuff up so that we can move quicker in getting products set up, and ultimately some consistency from a data set standpoint.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to hear that.
Yeah. I think it's coming. It's coming not just with us, but across the industry. And I do believe, my take on AI is, it's a disruptive force, especially for industries that have lots of data, lots of multiple processes and handoffs and things like that, and where we can sort of automate things and remove steps of the process. We talked about that supply chain piece. We always are trying to find ways to sort of shrink that supply chain and make it more efficient. AI does seem to be, a solution for that.
Yeah, it does seem like that's where we're going to see a huge benefit for our industry, and probably even more so for your part of that industry.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I get the most excited about, and then I think even the most fearful sometimes where
are the robots going to take over? Yeah.
Dude, I mean, I'm coming from Judgment Day. We grew up on the Terminator stuff, so
I'm with you.
Here it comes.
Yeah, here comes the Terminator sales rep.
The Terminator sales rep.
I mean, and as much as I'm a supporter of technology, my take on it is where technology can take out frankly the shit that people don't want to do, right? The stuff that doesn't add value. That in every job you have a list of things that are just like, this sucks. I hate doing this. It's repetitive. But someone has to do it. If we can take that off their plates, and the stuff I like to do, I like to sell, I like to build relationships, I like to tell stories about brands. If we can start to move some of the things that people tend to like in their jobs, the value add things where they can use their brain, I think that's the future of how workforces will be, so that AI can deal with all the other nonsense that tends to sort of gum up the system.
Putting your investment in the places where it actually creates interest in sales.
Totally, exactly.
And this is one thing I think that Breakthru has really maintained very well, where we've seen a lot of other distributor organizations kind of move towards a more automated system for ordering.
For sure.
Under the guise of efficiency for the account. The account's going to like
exactly.
this. I mean, maybe that was cool for a moment, but at the same time, you're pulling salespeople out of the market. And it seems from when I'm out in the market, I see that people want that human interaction.
Yes.
That's never going to go away.
Totally.
That'll always be there. Breakthru has seemed to always invest in that portion of it to make sure that you're going to be collaborative with whatever account it is out there. You're watching out for them. Your reps want to be the people that are relied upon for good advice. 100%. What's the next big thing?
Yes.
What can you do for my my staff on the floor to educate them about wine in general? And being that distributor that does that makes all the difference in the world. That's one of the things we look at when we look at who we're going to be going with in any given state. And so I appreciate that from the Breakthru perspective. And I think that, I don't think it's happening yet. I don't know if it's going to happen, but some of the other distributors, I think that they may have reached a point where it's like, we now live in this predominantly spirits portfolio, and you need these brands, and we're not going to be catering so much to that one-on-one interaction.
Totally.
Do you see that being rebuilt with other distributors, and how do you see your future?
I don't know how other distributors handle it, but I do believe for us it's not an either or, it's an and. And I think we've always believed that digital enablement is truly an enabler to open up capacity. We talked about just the amount of expectations that flow through the system to the sales rep. There is only so many hours in the day. There's only so much capacity a human has to sell and to build relationships. And when you think about it, if the average sales call is, let's say, generously 20 minutes, how much of that 20 minutes is really good value add selling? And if it's 5 minutes of dealing with credits and just getting some replenishment done, if we can take that 5 minutes away, so that 5 minutes now is presenting new products, think about that across the network. That opens up capacity. So we've always seen technology as really a way to enable capacity building, to do more of that great human interaction, storytelling, brand building, and relationship building that I think everybody wants to do more of.
Yeah.
So if we can remove some of the admin stuff, focus on the capacity that's built to sell more, we think that's a winning strategy.
Yeah. Are you guys using any AI sales tools for your sales team?
Yeah, I think there's some light AI that comes across some of the tools now in terms of starting to get into sort of like recommendations and sort of letting data show sort of generally where products might be more viable based on the market, based on zip code. So it's early stages, but again, we're sitting on such an incredible data. It's about using AI to sort of help summarize that quicker, so that we're not spending so much time analyzing the data that the actual insight we need, it just takes too long to get to that. So anything that can speed that up, for sure.
So we were just talking about this, the bee. This was last week. So Amazon I think it was Amazon just acquired this technology called the bee. It's a little tiny, thumb-sized microphone that'll go straight to your phone, and then there's the app that will take all of what it heard throughout the day of whatever you were talking about, and it'll categorize things and tell you, hey, you forgot to follow up on this.
Oh my gosh.
Scary but amazing, right? So at the end of the day for me, if I go back through just mentally and think I think I hit every mark I wanted to hit today.
Yeah.
It's 6 p.m., I can close up shop, I am happy. But for something to be there where you pick up your phone, it's one last little reminder, don't forget to do this. You had mentioned it at 9 p.m. or 9 a.m. today. And then also give you some feedback on hey, you maybe should have changed the way that you approached this pitch with this person, or they said that they were looking for this kind of product, and you kept pushing them on that kind of product. So I'm curious about where this goes, because I look at that as a tool. If you're not using that, like our generations, anybody who's, I don't know, 15 or older right now is probably deathly afraid of that being in their pocket, right?
Totally.
If you're coming into the workforce in 5 years and this is already kind of just normalized in your world, that's where, like, how do we get the current veteran generation of these industries to be able to adopt these ideas and technologies? Because they're going to get creamed in 10 years when this next generation is coming out supercharged. I mean, we're now verging on being part more humanoid, right? Like, I mean, whether we like to admit it or not.
You're so right. I also, like, sometimes I reflect and I think, I've got this job in our family. And then I think about my great-grandfather, Arthur. I think about, like, how did he get through the day? What were the things he did? And to think that he would make a phone call, send a telegraph. Like, to get stuff done, it just took so long.
Oh, yeah.
I come in, and the amount of productivity, and I'm not even that productive sometimes, but just that I can do because of what the tools we have today compared to what it was like 50 years ago is night and day. I can probably do what Arthur Wirtz had to spend a week doing. I can probably do like in an hour. And that's just
not gloating, that's true. I totally agree.
You can communicate faster, you can get answers quicker, you can reach more people quicker and faster, just because of, again, that's just with email and text. Imagine now, this next transformation is like 100 times more transformational than that. So think about, we think we're productive now. This next generation, those tools are going to be supercharging these folks, I think, to be that much more productive, that much more effective. And so I think change management's a huge piece, especially generationally.
Change management.
Yeah, that's the kind of, that's the buzzword that is used, especially in multi-generational companies where we've got folks that maybe grew up with a more manual way of working and operating, and hopefully we're introducing technology that is not intimidating but helps their job. I mean, as long as technology continues to be seen as something that helps them do their job better, I think if you jump too quickly, it can be very intimidating. But we've been, methodical, if not maybe even slow sometimes, to make sure that the change management curve keeps at the same pace as the technology, because you can, I think, sometimes go a little too early on things.
Yeah. Well, I want to introduce this to our sales team, and I am very worried that they're going to look at it like this is, so sorry everybody on the Copper Cane sales team, you're hearing about it here.
You're getting a B. You get a B. You get a B.
So I don't want them looking at it like, oh, this is Big Brother.
Totally.
But just that kind of that stair-stepping approach of like, hey, we're going to walk into this lightly, we're going to trial it out, see how it works, and see how much better you can be at your job and eliminate all the paperwork and the bullshit like that. I mean, I even was talking to a local retailer here who's still filling out all their paperwork by just longhand. Yeah. And that was the one call out I had, was like, if this person is not able to even adopt Excel and utilize that simple technology to kind of be a better forecaster and not have to just make a wild guess as to this store needs this much of this product and do it by every goddamn product. Like, it takes a long time.
It's a great example, and I think unfortunately we have our customer base is widely different from manual to automated, and we have to just be careful that we don't on one hand leave the manual behind, but we also don't gear everything, because the future is coming, and that hopefully that retailer over time will automate because it's for their own business, right? I
mean, even to the degree that like a sales rep can go in there and actually say, hey, let's see what each store was selling of each one of these products, and then just have AI just go boom. Why don't you take a look at this, and you tell me if I'm like 5%, 10% off from what your projections are, and why don't we move forward with this, and then you've just made that account's life easier.
Totally.
I mean, I think that's where we're pretty near that.
Absolutely.
Sorry. No, I was just gonna say, I think we've touched a lot on the benefits for business for sure. I don't know why, but I'm starting to actually think about the business, the importance that we could be bringing to our personal life. because South Park already made the joke of using AI to text their girlfriends on there and to be able to communicate and keep those conversations going. I'm thinking like with this bee, I mean, you could just record it. You'll never forget anything. You hear everything and saying you should ask this follow-up question about her day. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but I'm saying like we're starting. It's like where's that line that we're gonna draw? Where we're like I have to still be, accountable for myself and how I run things. But this could help.
But getting some
bit.
good advice from a supercomputer is
Yeah.
not always the worst thing
Right?
in anything
Yeah.
you're doing.
I think
suppose.
it's okay.
You never forget what's important. Don't forget the flowers.
I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. Well, thanks, B.
So yeah, B will never forget the flowers.
Yeah. So I do want to bring it back to sports a little bit.
Yeah.
So
That was good.
just a natural transition.
It's
talking
funny
about-
whenever like I'm, depending on the industry I'm in, like when I'm in like sports environments, I love talking about wine, spirits, and then over here, then everyone wants to talk about sports. So I'm used to jumping between the two all the time. So.
You got a lot to talk about, man.
Yeah.
It's just it's really amazing. So we're really excited about going to the UFC fight. You guys have ushered in just an amazing team with the franchise with the Blackhawks over nearly now 100 years as you said, but God, really an amazing story there. And with the United Center, the evolution of that, and going from a place where you had more traditional sports, you guys are now moving into UFC. Obviously, it's your first one tonight. What do you think about that? And how does that look in the future in regards to these kind of long form? You got people there for 6, 7, maybe 8 hours versus your traditional 3-hour stint.
For sure.
Is that something you guys are going more towards?
I mean, I think this goes to a broader trend in sports and entertainment, in sort of the four walls of a stadium and a fan experience, kind of experiencing that inside the four walls and then going home. Now you see with the growth of these mixed-use developments around these arenas for the traditional sports like hockey and basketball, that game day experience now involves maybe hanging out in the plaza beforehand, going to a restaurant. Maybe it's in the playoffs, it's 10,000 people in the plaza, another 20,000 in the building. So these sort of more immersive multi-venue campuses that are being built up are really kind of where a lot of these sports developments are going. We're about to start our development as well. Now, then you think about how outside of the basketball and hockey, sports like UFC are thinking about these events. Longer formats, they want to give fans kind of immersive experiences across the weekend, from the weigh-in to the hospitality. Can you incorporate other entertainment for the fans? So it's not just I hang out in Chicago and then I just go into the arena, but actually it could be something that could extend throughout the whole day and throughout the weekend. So as we build up our campus, and we're going to be adding a hotel, 6,000 seat music venue, and a whole plaza of retail and experiential. Whoa. Yeah, that's our 1901 project is the name of the project. It's on the same land we've owned for generations. It's 55 acres, so it's one of the larger developments that Chicago will see.
So this is that 55-acre development.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask about that after this. So that's all mixed use, and that's amazing.
So back to like a UFC, this is right up their alley, and even for concerts, they want to sort of not only have all the functionality of what they need out of the arena, but they want their fans to have more chances to engage with their brand. So I think these, like the 1901 project is going to bring to life some things where a day like today in a few years, may have UFC activations for the public out in the plaza. There might be an after show concert. There could be, the hotel takes on a new life of folks that come in town for these events. So I do think there's and that's the same for concerts. Think about, when we have these A-list concerts, we have folks that come in from all around the Midwest into Chicago. And can they stay at a hotel across the street from the venue? Can they go and buy merch the day before and a pop-up that the artist wants to do? Is there another free concert as part of it? So everything's just becoming more multifaceted, and we're thinking about drawing that experience out across longer periods of time.
So it's a festival, not an event.
Yeah, I think where it's like festivalizing of what traditionally were sort of very kind of confined events and making them more dynamic. And I think, look, we're in whatever industry, we're competing for the entertainment dollar, and we're trying to reach consumers and give them high value. And I think this is sort of where that world's going, where the price of tickets is really expensive. I mean, face value for a hockey game, basketball game, UFC. So we have to give the fans more value and more opportunity to kind of jump into things.
Well, I love that approach because I think that not only gives it, like, you come to a new city and you're always looking for something to do.
Yeah.
And you may have a short list of things that are of interest, but
Totally.
if you already have this whole built out program of like, hey, if we just got to resort back to why we came here, there are all these activations. Let's have a little fun with it. Like,
Exactly.
we're going to enjoy every moment of it.
That's right.
And maximize our dollar.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, great strategy.
Yeah.
So when is the completion on that?
So it's probably going to be about a 10 to 15 year project. This first phase will be done by May of 2028. And again, that's anchored by the 6,000 seat music venue, which we're very excited about. It'll be kind of the first ground up building in some time in Chicago. We're going to have about a 200 room hotel, and then that'll be anchored by all this new green space and activated lawns. We're going to have a new parking lot that's going to have a park on top. So there's a lot of community benefit, a lot of public space, a lot of access, and then just lots of opportunity. Our food and beverage is going to play a huge role in how do we bring the best of Chicago and national players around the table to kind of create a cool experience. So it's a really fun project. The city's very excited about it. The people of Chicago are looking forward to it. It's primarily financed, so not running into some of the issues that you see with some of these developments. So we're ready to break ground.
So selfishly, I've got to ask this question. Is this whole campus, can you get a glass of, say, Belglass Pinot and walk all the way around it? Or
Public consumption will be an interesting question, which I'm not aware of.
Okay.
But I can tell you, there's not a building that's going to be built where my wine and spirits hat is not on, because I actually think sometimes when you build these things, even like the music venue, for example, I do believe sometimes the music venues can underserve the wine and spirits world. And that's sometimes based on their older buildings. They don't have as much point of sale and space, but we have to create an environment where you walk in and you can have a great wine experience, a great cocktail experience, a great beer experience, or non-alcohol, whatever it might be. But how we think about that hospitality, it's no longer an afterthought. It is now something that is central to when we do build spaces. It's not just like it's the concessions, just tack it on. No, like the experience is very much ingrained in hospitality, food and beverage, and then everything else around it.
That's great.
Yeah,
very cool. I want to get into the future of Breakthru and Wirtz, and I mean Blackhawks, everything you're doing. But there is one little fun thing we do. It's just rapid fire questions.
Yeah, totally.
Thought we jump into this. What is your favorite cocktail right now?
I'll say like the last one I had that I would have again was a version of a Gibson, which is sort of like a brinier. It had like a jalapeno. It was from a really nice cocktail bar here. So I definitely am in like the martini adjacent world right now, with gin if possible.
Okay, a little more spirits forward.
Yep, for sure. Yep, clean. I mean, I think light. There's not a lot of sugar and other stuff, so trying to keep it lean and mean.
Yep, I'm with you. That's good. Yeah. What's more nerve-wracking? Closing a national beverage deal or watching overtime in the Stanley Cup playoffs with the Blackhawks?
Oh. Different compartments of stress. But I tell you, and it's now unfortunately been some time since we were in the playoffs, but the playoffs, as fun as they actually are terrible. Like they're like every night is like this nerves. You just the amount of anxiety that comes from these playoff games is incredible. Now, the joy of winning is that much better and it makes up for it, but when you're in the playoffs and every game, especially in hockey where it's so unpredictable, every game is just like this high intensity. It could go either way, and then you get to an overtime where it's next goal wins, and I just remember like just not being able to like sit still. Like it just is crazy. So we'll get back there soon enough.
Oh, that's great. Let's see, if somebody used to do a movie of your life, who would play you?
This is not a flattering comment to make by any means, but I don't know if you guys watch Slow Horses, but my daughter, we were talking about celebrity and who would play us right now. She said Gary Oldman. And now his hygiene is like notoriously bad in this show and like he's kind of disgusting, but like I mean I can get a little disheveled on the weekend, so maybe like he would play me, but maybe he would clean himself up a little bit. But Gary Oldman's one of the greatest actors of all time.
Yeah,
greatest
talent.
actors.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to put a little picture of him.
If you put a picture of him,
Yeah.
I can channel that. I
I
cleaned
think
myself up today, but
everybody will recognize
on like
him.
a Sunday morning, I look like
Can we pull the picture from True Romance where he was like
oh,
the
the
dreads?
dreadlocks, yeah. Exactly. He's Dracula,
Yeah.
yeah,
for
exactly.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. So in all your time with your family being in distribution, did you ever sneak a sample off of either a Wirtz or a Breakthru truck or the warehouse?
I am literally terrified of like breaking rules. I mean, I'm a firstborn. I'm like, no.
Okay.
No, I don't think so. I mean, like in the sample room or something, like for sure. But that's kind of meant to take certain things. But
You're helping out at that point. You're getting rid of like all the stuff that's going to
totally. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I God's honest truth, never have taken anything out of inventory because I know the downstream. Someone's got to count that, and they got to. Count for it, so no.
I also want to let you know you do have the freedom to turn these questions around on Joe.
It sounds like maybe you're trying to find some kindred spirits in this. Yeah, like everybody does this, right? Yeah.
So there is one brief story actually that comes to mind. So, and it doesn't have to do with wine, but Chris and I, we were like running around the winery when we were young. We were like 8, 9, 10, maybe somewhere in there, and we found this wheelbarrow of beer, and so we were like, let's do it. It was after a party, like a winery party. And so we grab a bunch and we go down to the creek and we start cracking them open and drinking them. And we're like thinking like, oh yeah, we're getting a buzz and whatever else. And it was like O'Doul's. Oh! So mind over matter absolutely worked, but then I think we realized it was like 0.5%. We're like, yeah.
The psychosomatic buzz.
The placebo effect was
that's good. If you're feeling good, great.
It worked well, but it wore off quick.
Yeah.
I found out then too at 9 years old I really can't drink a 12-pack of beer to myself. If you try that again with the real stuff, you found out quickly.
5 and 9 years old?
If you had your own spirit brand, what would you name it?
Oh gosh. Oh, I'm sure I'd find some sort of like hockey connection or something.
Yeah.
Some kind of co-branded Blackhawk whiskey or something like that.
There you go.
Yeah.
First concert you ever went to?
Technically, it was Billy Joel.
Nice.
Yeah.
Was that here?
It was at the old Rosemont Horizon, and it was probably in like the mid '80s, somewhere there. Yeah.
You got to see him in his prime.
That was prime, yeah.
I got to see him like 2 years ago in Detroit. It was still good.
Yeah, and I know he's battling an illness,
Yeah.
but he's an incredible songwriter, performer.
He's one of my top.
I've ended up seeing him multiple times in his career, and just you never forget the first show, right?
Yeah, God, that's great.
Yeah.
Let's see, your dream dinner guest from the beverage world, living or dead. That's a good one.
A name that keeps coming up, and Sidney Frank, I never got to meet.
Okay.
But the stories about Sidney were incredible, and I know a lot of people that spent a lot more time with him, and unfortunately I didn't have any time with him, so I would have loved to. I know he's not meant for these times, but it would have been fun to see him in action.
That's a good one.
As you talk about some of the characters in our industry, he's definitely one of them.
That's a good one. Good call. All right. Well, so now I want to just go back to the kind of the last part, which is maybe the most important part. Your family's been at the helm of these different industries for decades, generations, and done a great job ushering them from one to the next. Like, what is the future that you see as far as expansion and passing down the torch? Not necessarily for to specific people, but what is the structure and what do you see for the future of your guys's your family business?
Yeah, so I mean, to simplify a question like that to its base element, we kind of adopt we want to leave this better than when we found it, and it goes back to our roots are in farming, and our original farm, and it comes from an Illinois land grant in the 1800s, and so that kind of metaphor is something that we take to heart in terms of, as a farmer, you want to try to, and in agricultural, you want to make sure the land is more valuable than when you found it, and it's in better shape. So that's sort of the mentality across all the businesses. Now, how you define what that looks like is different by business. Obviously, in the wine and spirits business, I can feel really good that our business today is light years beyond what it was before Breakthru when we were on our own. And we've been able to grow and prosper and create more opportunities for our employees, create deeper partnerships, and so that feels really good. We have to figure out what that next evolution is. And it may not be scale, it may not be size, it might be depth, it might be a level of performance, it might be the ability to withstand and weather storms. Maybe it's diversification, but whatever it is, we want to make sure that when I fast forward at the end of my career, as my dad would say, when I hang up my loafers, I want to feel that we've made some progress, and we're letting the next generation have a better business to work with than what we started with. So, and that's not an indictment on being left something bad. It's just you're trying to improve it and grow it from generation to generation. So that's kind of the metaphor we use for all of our businesses. The Chicago Blackhawks, the best way to measure is one of the main ways is just the value of the franchise. And it's already, the sports valuations are through the roof these days. And for what we bought it, it's wildly more valuable than it was when we bought it back in the 30s, 40s, in that area. So hopefully I can do the same thing and continue to build value. And then making sure that the next generation, find their own path, whatever that might be, whether that's the next generation works in the business, participates in our family governance, or can be great, citizens representing the family in our businesses. That's what we really try to hope for. And hopefully all those things come together and, I can feel good and put my head on the pillow someday and feel that I did my part as the steward for this period of time, and then someone else and a group of folks in the next generation will take it from here.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being here, Danny.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
For hosting us.
Oh yeah. Wait, I got gifts.
Oh, yeah.
You can't come without getting some swag, right? So I think this one's yours. And if not, you guys can trade.
Shall we open these?
Sure. Open up my camera. Yeah.
There's nothing inappropriate in here, is there?
No, exactly. The presents for your significant others is in the other room.
Thank you.
Nice.
Oh.
Yeah.
I've seen that. Yeah.
He knew that you wanted to dress like you were 20.
Yeah.
How did you know?
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, that fits you well.
You got me the classic.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh my God.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Oh heck yeah.
What's that?
Got a hockey puck?
Yep. 100th anniversary. That's
Got
good.
it.
Little.
Yeah.
That is very cool.
And if the size shirts are not right, then you got to trade. That's the only thing that's sized.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah, good, perfect.
Large, beautiful.
Yeah. My
The
color.
Blackhawks.
Everything. Yeah.
While we're talking about this, have you? You guys probably have
Nice.
answered this. Any pressure to change the name?
We are actually in partnership. Actually, this is an area we've gone pretty deep in and really established a pretty significant relationship with. Blackhawk was not a chief, but he was a war leader in his tribe in the Illinois area. And his ancestral tribe, the Sac and Fox Nation, are down in Oklahoma right now. We have a formal partnership with them. We work on lots of different initiatives in the Native American community, and we try to do all we can to make sure that our namesake and our imagery continues to honor the person of Blackhawk, and not get caught up with some of the things that some other teams have done to sort of, manipulate or cartoonize things. And so it's an area that we are really committed to, and it's a big pillar of kind of how we present our brand.
I'm glad we brought that up because that was something that we wanted to talk about. So thank you for sharing that with us. That's awesome, and really appreciate the gifts and what you do for the community. And,
always, yeah.
I'm sure the whole city loves what you guys are doing, whether they know everything you're involved in or not. And love to see that multi-generational business is going to continue on.
Well, it only works when we have partnerships like this. So thank you so much, and it's a pleasure to be here.
I'm gonna have to start going to all these games because this is gonna be the new hat that I'm using.
Nice,
I'm wearing every day, and I don't want to be a
Feel
poser.
free to wear
so.
that out west. Wear it in San Jose, and
I was going to say just show up to a Sharks game and that.
Yeah, sure, that'll be cool.
I'm not worried about Sharks fans. Yeah.
I wouldn't be. Yeah.
Pleasure, man.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, awesome.